It's that time again. It's time for the best and most brutal indie games releasing in the first half of January. Now, if you like the games that you see, remember to hit that like and subscribe. And part 2 of January will be releasing sometime in the middle of the month. Now, let's go.
Congratulations, inmate. You are in the top 98%.
So starting this year off is actually a really cool game. I had the honors of playing some of it before making this video, and there is a demo out that gives a little taste of what this is all about. Essentially, it's a third-person shooter, but with morphing. You, the player, can morph into the enemies that you kill or certain props in the world to solve puzzles. Yep, you heard that right. Morphing into just about anything is very real in this game. And it's all done in an actually fairly decent way, especially considering that this game is developed by Yummy Games and this is their first game. It's a very small indie studio, so props to them for doing this. The game overall really shows a lot of promise, that this studio has skills. It's very pretty to look at and it feels more than okay gameplay wise. Some of the shooting and morphing feels a little bit stale, but not enough to drag the game down to a bad experience. So what is the goal of the game, you might be wondering? Well, we have been captured by the Hicks, and now we need to fight to the top of this deadly tower to regain our freedom. And no, it is not a roguelike, it is a linear campaign with fighting, puzzle solving and bosses, and you can experience it on the 6th of January. Wowee, would you look at this? Slim covers a proper Souls-like game, and you know what's even more cool is that Slim finished the demo of it without dying a single time on his first flippin' try. I even have video proof of the whole session if you don't believe me. But I was struggling like crazy. My palms were sweaty, my knees were weak, and yeah. Now Tyrant is not your ordinary Souls-like game. Apart from its block parry strike combat, the game is actually built on worlds filled with rooms, and in these rooms are enemies for you to kill. You have to find your way to the next area by navigating this maze filled with traps, enemies, rooms, and of course new shiny gear. But before entering a new area, a boss needs to be taken down. Luckily, the game gives you a bit of a breather right before a boss. You get to purchase new gear at the merchant, refill your health potions, and get all warm and cozy by the fire. And honestly, I had a blast with the demo. The combat is great. Each hit feels punchy, both when on the receiving end and on the giving end. And the weapons that I found, they were actually cool as hell, as well as the armor that we put on ourselves. Now, if there is one thing that I can complain about on this game, it would be the parry window. To hit a parry, you need to block right before an attack hits you. But the window to do that is freaking insanely small. Or I'm just getting old, I don't know. Test it yourself with the demo or on January the 16th.
Do you want to do some violent crimes?
Yes! January has one of the most fire indie first-person shooter games dropping. Cruel, my friends, drops you into a twisted world. Disoriented and trapped in a bizarre hotel, you find a lifeless body in the elevator. Without hesitation, you grab the weapon from its cold grip, bracing yourself for the horrors ahead. Speed is your only ally in this twisted world, meaning the game goes fast, it goes hard, and most of all, it looks brutal as all living flippin' hell. It features 10 dynamic levels, upgrades, a vast variety of weapons and enemies to slay, and pulse-pounding soundtrack. If you like games like Mullet Magic that is fast, loaded with action and filled with dopamine, then this will be right up your alley. Emphasized by its retro graphics, taking inspiration from classic first-person shooter games and arcade games, it's set to offer us a fresh experience with a comedic kick. And if it succeeds in that, we can find out on January the 9th. Blade Chimera, a very gorgeous side-scroller that really nails its pixel art. It looks super consistent in its quality, and its quality is really fine. You get to explore a dark and sinister Osaka as the demon hunter Shin. We get to battle demons, regain lost skills, and uncover the truth of our forgotten past. Now, the game has all the traditional unlock new skills and abilities as we go, but it does it with a bit of a twist. You see, the sword that we carry in the game is actually a shape-shifting demon, and a part of all the unlocks is the actual sword, making so that the demon can shape-shift into, say, a grappling hook or a shield and so on and so forth. You get the gist, and the possibilities are just limited by the developer's own imagination here. But the sword is far from the only weapon in the game. There's firearms that goes pew-pew, whips that go shmaka, and other things that will kill your enemies. And I am pleased to say that the combat actually feels great in the game. But what doesn't feel great is that the demo that is available right now doesn't even have controller support. I mean, playing a side-scroller like this on a keyboard is just nothing but freaking awful. Hopefully though, the controller support lands on 16th of January when the game drops. This game, man, I love it. It plays surprisingly well, and yes, you're guessing this correct. You actually throw bowling balls at pins. It's a first-person bowler. Now, some of the pins, they charge you. Some of them, they shoot lasers, and others, they summon even more pins to the battlefield. But it's not all flowers and sunshine, my broskies. The game is very short, like extremely short. Shorter than a lot of demos that I played. It took me a whooping 15 minutes to get through all the levels and kill the final boss. So I'm kinda hoping that this will be a $1 or free game. Nonetheless, it is a very unique concept, and hell, the developers made it freaking work, which is an achievement all in itself. Morkel Ragast's Rage is a fun little 2D side-scroller in where we control Death. Death that has more specifically been trapped inside of this video game, and now he wants to escape. But to escape, he needs us, the player, to guide him and control him. If we leave the game once we booted it up, well, he will kill a kitten, so enter this game at your own risk. All in all, it is a very basic side-scroller with some puzzling, platforming and fighting. The combat never really goes very deep. However, we do unlock new abilities as we progress in the game, opting for new ways of puzzle solving and platforming for the most part. A simple yet fun, very beautiful hand-drawn game. It can be experienced on the 16th of January with a free demo that you can play right now. Follow-up game to the Citadel is finally here. The Citadel, the last stronghold of mankind's resistance against the apocalypse, has now fallen. Humankind is now under the control of the trumpeteers of the apocalypse. The martyr, who is the last resort of the seven angels, the guardians of humankind, is led by a mysterious signal and sets out on a journey to overthrow the trumpeteers of the apocalypse. The Citadel is a beloved boomer shooter that both looks and plays different from most out there, and Beyond Citadel seems to take the same formula but amp everything up a few notches, including the waifu. Hell, there is half-naked waifus everywhere in this game, and I barely even know what it means, but I think I'm using it correct here. Overall though, Beyond Citadel will offer lots of action with semi-realistic weapon handling, bosses, blood, lots of grey, and I am all down for it. Oh, and half-naked waifus. And if it manages to take what the first game did right and make it better, hell, this might just go down as one of the greats in the boomer shooter genre on January the 2nd. Hunter Moonstrike, huh? Consider this game a bit of a bonus game. I wouldn't consider it as looking like one of the best and most brutal indie games releasing in the first half of January, but it does have an interesting experimental feature going for it that I want to share knowledge on, and that is that all the NPCs in this world are connected to a talkative AI, meaning that you can ask the NPCs whatever you like and they will respond and acting like they think they are alive. How well it's going to work and how long it takes for an NPC to actually respond to you, well, I don't know, but I have my doubts that it's going to feel very fluid and real. Other than that, Hunter Moonstrike is an action RPG set in a dark, fantastical world where players take on the role of a moon hunter, battling fierce creatures and dark forces, releasing on the 1st of January. Yet again, the VR gang gets a fantastic looking shooter with Arcane Age. And yet again, I cannot for the life of me fathom how a cool looking game like this releases in VR only. But here we are, and I'm seriously starting to consider getting myself a VR headset thanks to the awesome looking games that is dropping for it all the time. Now, Arcane Age is a VR action adventure game set in the Biochasm, a terraformed fantasy world created by the Grand Arborist. You get to engage in fully physics combat using Arcanite-infused swords and guns, and freely explore the densely filled environments under siege by Hyperion's neural corruption. I mean, seriously, it sounds and looks pretty damn awesome, almost like a mix of Turok meets Transformers, and it's releasing on the 16th of January. Now, this is looking like a mighty fine open world co-op roguelike adventure. It is the spiritual successor to the beloved game Hyper Light Drifter, but it sets itself apart quite a lot. Whereas Drifter is a pixel art top-down game, this is a fully 3D beautiful looking third-person game. I especially like the concept of having a semi-big open world that is ever shifting, so if you die or regroup at the hub, that means the world that you're playing in will have changed, and the enemies, aka the overgrowth, will have grown back, making the whole exploration part in the game never really dull down, for exploring will be as important as killing in this game. Your goal is to find new gear and eventually build your preferred build with the equipment that you find. Of course, there are regular upgrades as well, like increased health, etc, that you spend currency to obtain. But I do actually fancy the fact that we have to hunt down the gear that we want. It brings a little bit of RPG elements into the mix. Now, once we do have the gear that we want and are powerful enough, it's boss hunting time. As of starters in early access, there will be 2 bosses to hunt down, with more coming during the early access period. And worth mentioning is that the game is just as playable solo as in co-op, and the journey begins on January the 14th. Broskis, thank you a million times for watching all the way to the end. You know I love you, you're freaking fantastic. Now I hope that you found some value in this video, and remember to hit that like, hit the subscribe, and join the Discord link down in the description. It's a fantastic place and you will not regret joining it. Trust me, if you do, you can never leave. So be sure that you want to join. Over and out.